Jesse, would you bring my stool, please? Our lessons make it pretty clear today what we're expected to do and how we're expected to behave. There is no error or no law to be broken when we live by loving the people around us. And that's not just the people who are important to us, but it's all people. It's the stranger on the street. It's the people getting service on their automobiles. It's all people. And yet, you and I live in a world where people tend most of the time to just be rude. On Friday, my day off, I took the boys to school, and on the way home, I decided to put air in the tires of the van. So I pulled into Discount Tire, where they give you air for free. They'll even do it. You don't have to do it yourself. You don't even have to have bought your tires there. They're happy to put air in your tires. And my van takes 49 pounds in the front and 71 pounds in the back. I'm in line. I pulled into the handicap spot next to the place that says free air. And I looked and I saw one lady behind me, and I indicated that I knew she was there and that she certainly would have to go in before me because she was in line before I was there. But as the young man who was doing the filling of the tires came out of Discount Tire to indicate who was going to come next, some guy stepped out of his car and he says, "Hey, don't you take that red van before me, I'm next." That's the world. So I rolled down my window to the young man, and when he was walking back past me, he kind of gave me a look, and I said, in a very, very bold voice, "Son, when you can take me, I will be happy to come in and get my tires filled. I will not give you any problems." After I did get the van tires filled, the young man thanked me for not putting pressure on his life when I was there to put pressure in my tires. For not putting any pressure on his life that was undue and unnecessary. He was doing his job. And I don't know how you put air in car tires and then keep track of the 6 cars that are parked across from the garage about who came in first and who comes in next. To me, it doesn't matter. I just sit and wait and say, when you can take me, I'll come in. Because I'm very happy just to have the service. I'm excited that there's somebody who's willing to do that for me. I hate getting my hands dirty pumping air into car tires. I'd like to go back to the days when Charlie Hornberger in Montague, Michigan, he was the Shell gas station on the corner of Jeremiah down the street from Todd's drugstore. You might remember that gas station. Would come out and say, "What do you need today?" And I'd say, "Can you fill me up with gas, please, when you get a chance?" Because he had 3 bays, and he was always busy doing car repairs in the bays. And he'd say, "Well, I'll get you in about 4 or 5 minutes." And I said, "That's fine." And he would fill the car up, and I would be on my way. He knew us as school teachers in the community. And when we were pregnant to deliver, I believe it was Jeremiah, we were in the midst of a gas crunch. Do you remember that in the mid-70s? No, you're not old enough. Speed limits were set at 55 miles an hour on 4-lane highways. There were gas lines, and even in odd days for filling up gas tanks, and Melody was expecting. So I went and got the car filled up, and Charlie Ornberger knew that Melody was expecting, and he walked out and he said, he says, Here's my home phone number. If you need gas to get to Muskegon to the hospital for the baby to be delivered or to go, we actually were going 60 miles north to our hometown to have Jeremiah delivered. He says, you call me, I'll be at the station in 5 minutes to fill you up. I don't care what day of the week it is. You see, what we have learned as Christian people is that oftentimes, not all the time, but oftentimes, if we live our lives with love and compassion, and we look to Christ for our courage, and we don't look to the rewards of the world for who we are, but instead give thanks to God for the fact that we are, and for the great gift we have in Jesus Christ, we can live lives of love and joy and faith in the community. And most of the time, we will discover that we will be treated with a great deal of honor and respect for who we are as God's children, not necessarily who I am or who you are as a human being. Last Monday, actually it was a week ago Friday, there's a Native American man I've been helping for a long, long time in church. He's given us some trouble now and then, caused us some problems, but somehow God put it in my head and my heart that this is a man I should not turn away very often. He needs help. Not just financial help, but he needs to know that people care about him. About 2 months ago, his younger brother came down from Many Farms. Some of you may remember Many Farms. We traveled up there with a group of seniors once when Kurt had a thrift store up there, Kurt Fangmeyer. And it's a beautiful community on the Navajo reservation, kind of right at the opening into Canyon de Chelly. And I met this man's brother, whose name was Peter. He had come down in his little Dodge pickup to pick up his brother, his older brother, and to take him back up because the elders of the tribe had wanted this man to come back up to live with his family and with his tribe. And he spends a lot of time down here. He's a veteran, and so he comes down all the way to Tucson to go to the VA. I'll never figure it out. He could easily go to Phoenix. Maybe Farmington. I don't know if there's a VA in Farmington. He's certainly closer to Farmington. But he has some extended family out west of here off of Alpha Way. So Peter came to me on Friday and said, a week ago Friday, and said, Pastor, my truck broke coming down. The elders sent me down again to get my brother, and my truck broke, and I had to leave it on the side of the road. And all the money I brought for gas, I had to spend to make the rest of the trip down here. Well, how many times have I heard that story over the years? Hundreds, perhaps, over the time I've been pastor here. But I didn't hesitate for a minute. I helped Peter and his brother the first time. Went to the bank, drew money out of my account, gave him gas money and food money to drive back up to the res, because I know Many Farms. I know people who live up there. I know pastors who worked up there in the Lutheran school in that area. That's kind of community to me. It's the only place where you can pull into the bashes and not be able to get out of your car because there's a bull standing in the parking lot. Or two bulls standing in the parking lot. And you have to really be careful driving at night because you don't want to kill anybody's horses or cows or goats or anything else that is running without fences through the entire community. It's really a rather lovely place. So I told Peter a week ago Friday, I said, I'll have money for you on Monday morning. I didn't have anything left. I said, I don't have any money I can draw at the bank right now, but on Monday I'll have my paycheck in the bank late Friday or on Monday, and I can get you some money. So I drove in on Monday to the church, and there he was at 8:30 in the morning, sitting, waiting. Now his older brother had said he would be back. His older brother has never come back. Not this time, not yet, but he will. He will reappear. And I gave Peter money for his bus fare to Flagstaff, and I made sure that he would be able to get food on the way, and that he had family enough around the flag area, and if he had told me no, I would have said, then you call this number. You call Pastor Kurt Bangmeyer and you tell him you need a ride out to the res. Peter thanked me and hugged me. He didn't know what he was going to do, but as a Christian man, I knew what he was going to do. It's just like last week when Nancy met a young man from Central America here, and he needed bus fare to Phoenix, and I had no cash, almost less than I had today. And Mary stepped up to the plate and said, I have just enough money for his bus fare to Phoenix. Was he from Guatemala, Nancy? Is that what he said? Yeah.
And then everybody else came.
What?
Then everybody else came. It was like loaves and fishes.
Yeah, well, that often happens when one person gets assisted in the congregation. There's this kind of message that goes out across the community that you might be able to get help at that place, because help is hard to come by these days. In the face of everything that's happening in our country right now, with hurricanes having battered Texas, Irma battering Florida today and on into Georgia and South Carolina and Tennessee after that. The Northwest is on fire. Montana, Idaho, North Dakota, South Dakota. Idaho, Washington, and Oregon. Tens of thousands of acres, hundreds of square miles are on fire. What do you and I do? How do we live in a way that makes a difference to people? Well, we certainly can help through our church, through our national church. If you're a person who feels compassionate, or you have family members or friends who live in those communities, there's a way to help. A way to make sure that every single penny you donate goes to assistance through our church. Not a single penny will be used for administrative costs. Nothing. Our churches will be distribution centers in Florida. And we will use congregations with whom we have solid relationships and other national church bodies who already have people in place to help. We will work through them. We know our money will do what it's given to do. But above that, prayers. Oh my goodness. I told my boys last night, I said, we have to pray for the people of Florida. It's going to be terrible there tomorrow morning. My boy's comment was, we talked a little bit about the surge in Naples and how it was going to be as high as the top of our house. And the comment one of my boys made was, then we'd go to the basement and we'd be okay. I don't think he quite understood the idea of surge. I said, no, we'd be on the roof. Or we'd have to go find some place with a third story if we had 15 feet of water running through our top. The basement would not do. So we prayed for the people of Florida last night. Prayer is one of those great things that you and I can do. And some people say, well, that's just cost-free. Well, no, it's not. It is your time, it is your spirituality, it is your trust in God. It is all kinds of things. It's your confidence that God is going to answer your prayers. Remember the passage? For where two or three are gathered in my name, I am there among them. And truly again, I tell you, if two of you agree on earth about anything you ask, it will be done for you by the Father. If you think prayer doesn't work, you have things to learn. Prayer makes an incredible difference. It's taking the time in our very busy lives to offer that gift, which Christ has told us will always be answered, whether it is for us or for someone else. And I'm sorry I didn't respond last night to your prayer request. I saw it. I knew what was going on with Amanda yesterday, or on Friday. But the prayer chain in our church is amazing. They pray for people. They pray for you. They pray for people who have special need. They pray for the disaster. They pray for families who have deaths. They pray for all kinds of people. And it makes a difference. How do you think a 21 or 2?
22.
I'm glad you have to stop and think about that too. How do you think it makes a 22-year-old woman feel when she's told that there are 6 or 8 people praying for her in the church where she grew up over this health issue that she has no control over? It makes a huge difference. You know, our first lesson tells us, if you don't take the time, to pray or the time to confront when that's necessary, and that person goes to their grave filled with their sin and brokenness, not having come to God, then that falls on you. I got a whole list of people I have to start praying for, folks. Lately, I've said some prayers that weren't very nice. I'd hate to have the answer to those prayers fall on my shoulders. By the way, none of those prayers are about you. Our lessons today are very clear. We have a responsibility. We have God's gift of love and compassion. We have the strength and courage of God in our lives. We have the opportunity out of the gifts and resources of God, the blessings in our lives, to make a difference in the lives of all kinds of people. You saw what we did today. We collected a lot of money. I thought we were being a Baptist church for a minute. Where they count the offering in the middle of the service, and if it's not enough, it goes back again until they get enough. How much is enough with God in your life? Was it the $1 or the $20 that you pulled out of your pocket today? Or is everything that is in your life a gift from God, meant to be used to proclaim the good news of God's love for all people through Jesus Christ, whether we like Him or we don't like Him? Everything in our lives, even in the Old Testament, to the New Testament Jews who were told, if you don't care for the widows, the orphans, and the resident aliens in your midst, you're in trouble, because I have given you everything that you are. And it is meant to be a proclamation to the world about the one true God. The God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, our God. The one who we revere and fear. Honor. That's our word for that now, is honor. Read the lessons again today. Take them home with you. Take them to heart. Let them make a difference in who you are, because You belong to Christ, in whom you have been baptized. Amen.